My name is Nguyễn Mỹ. Currently, I am the GM and entrepreneur in resident at Hello Health Group or Hello Bác sĩ in Vietnam. I have been back in Vietnam for almost a year. This photo was in New York City when I'm about 24, 25. I was really into finance. At that point, New York City was my dream city. So no thinking about go back to Vietnam at that very point, but I did have contemplate in various places about when I can come back to Vietnam. It's where I am in my career, who I am with as a mom and wife, and where I am as a daughter, and also for the industry that I wanted to get in and the impact that I can have. So all of those things have motivated me to come back to Vietnam last November. Earlier in the career, the first concern is more relevant. Is the ROI on my education investment. Since I have been in the career path for a while, I've been working for more than 10 years now, so I think my ROI have way paid back by now already, so it's no longer a concern in terms like I did already cover that. The second one was the career trajectory, how far or how fast I will grow being in the US or being in Vietnam. If you haven't tried, you wouldn't know. So if you wanted to have a leadership kind of role and the role with the responsibility or the expectation to lead not only yourself but your team is higher and faster if in Vietnam. Oh, one thing I put here that I didn't call out is the limited network connection. That's all like my biggest concern whenever I come back to Vietnam. But for my experience have been that people are very open. I think everyone value network here, and they offer that as your cashier of even in the first introduction. So in some way, the reality have been different than what I expected. I did wrote down here independence because I left Vietnam when I was a teenager, when I was still living with my parents. So I have grown up in the US to be an independent woman. So whenever I contemplating moving back to Vietnam, I always in that like mindset of now I'm back to being the daughter. What is the implication of that? It's a change in setting. It's something that I have adjusted to when I come to the US and something I have to adjust coming back to Vietnam. And then the last one kind of similar to that, the family dynamic and adjusting to living back in Vietnam. There is a comfort and discomfort in both places. And once you kind of fish out of the water for a long time, you come back to the water, it takes adjusting. It's the tropical country, the humidities, we kind of complain about the food. And just the family dynamic, when I have so adjust to being in a remote relationship, now you're in really close relationship, that takes adjusting as well. And it's not as significant as I have thought. It does take some adjusting, and I'm still in the adjusting period. The choice that you have here is so much different even compared to like a few years ago. The amount of adjusting that you need to have, I think will be less and less as time go. Well, I'll put something here. What I wrote here is just show up, you are enough. I think back to my younger self when I was very time that I contemplating this move. I have to stay longer, I have to learn more, I have to be more experienced, I have to do more things to be good enough to come back to Vietnam, whether for my family or whether the prospective employer. But maybe because now is where I am in my life, I just think just show up, you are enough, because we are very value the connection, the warm, the supportive, that with just your interest of coming back, that already say a lot when you come back here. So that's why I say just show up, you are enough. I learned about it last year when I came back. I think that's your first, that was the first summit, right? It was a gift, it really is. For those that have lived overseas, and I have lived overseas for a long time, so I have this dilemma of I'm too Vietnamese for American, but I'm too American for Vietnamese. It's easy my transition is because when you have moved overseas, you have a different perspective. It's hard to explain to someone that have not. So this space, it gives me that space to be able to be a little more of myself, kind of a cafe sure, like some Vietnamese and some American or a different country perspective.